The news reached Earth 12 hours after the massacre. A small scout ship had been outside the New Thessalonica system when the attack happened. It recorded everything and raced back to warn Earth. In the Earth Security Council chamber, 24 men and women sat in shocked silence as they watched the recording. They saw the medical ships land. They saw the doctors and nurses working to save lives. They saw the Imperium ships arrive and fire without mercy. When the recording ended, no one spoke for a full minute. The final image, the Hippocrates exploding in a ball of fire, burned in their minds. Finally, the president stood. She was an older woman with silver hair and eyes now red from tears. 8,000 medical workers, she said quietly. 30,000 patients, all dead. The Confederation must respond to this, said one council member. This breaks every law of civilization. The Confederation moves too slowly, said another. By the time they decide what to do, the Imperium could attack again. The president looked at each person in the room. Today, we must make a choice. Do we wait for the Confederation, or does Earth act alone? Around the table, faces hardened. Tears dried. Sadness turned to something else. Earth acts, they said, one after another. Earth acts now. The president nodded. Then we must send our fleet. The defense minister, a man named Kang, cleared his throat. Madam President, our regular fleet may not be enough. The Imperium ships are larger and more powerful. What do you suggest? She asked. Kang looked around the room, then pressed a button. A hidden panel in the wall slid open, revealing a red folder marked Prometheus Protocol. A murmur went through the room. Many had heard of this secret plan, but few had seen it. You can't be serious, said one council member. Those people were locked away for a reason. Those people, Kang said, are the most effective warriors and strategists in human history. Yes, they are also criminals. But the Imperium has killed our healers. Perhaps now we need those who know how to kill. The room fell silent again as the president took the folder and opened it. Inside were profiles of men and women whose names were spoken only in whispers. People whose actions had shaped history through violence and fear. Bring me Admiral Yoon, the president finally said. If we are to do this, we need someone who can control these people. 3 hours later, Admiral Sun Ma-Yoon entered the council chamber. She walked with a slight limp, a reminder of the Mars Rebellion she had crushed 5 years ago. Though 60 years old, her back was straight and her eyes sharp. You wish to see me, Madam President. Admiral Yoon, you know of the massacre at New Thessalonica. All of Earth knows. My officers are ready to fight. The president handed her the red folder. We are activating the Prometheus Protocol. You will command not only our fleet, but also these assets. Admiral Yoon's face showed surprise as she read the folder. Then she looked up, her expression now cold and determined. You understand what you're asking me to do? She asked. I am asking you to show the Imperium that killing our healers was the worst mistake they could make. Admiral Yoon closed the folder and stood straight. I accept this command. The criminals will serve under my control. The Imperium will learn that humans are not just good at saving lives. She paused. We also remember how to take them. As Admiral Yoon left to prepare, the president turned to the window. Outside, people had gathered in the streets of every city on Earth. They held candles and pictures of the medical teams. Their faces showed grief, but also growing anger. The president whispered words that would soon echo across the stars. They will regret the day they decided healers weren't worth respecting. 3 months had passed since the mission to Kepler 9. The human medical corps had saved thousands of lives there. Now the HSS Hippocrates floated near Earth, getting new supplies and fresh medical teams. Dr. Jae-ho Kim sat in his office reading reports when his screen flashed with an urgent message. It was from the Galactic Confederation, the group of many alien species that work together for peace. What is it? Asked Nurse Hana as she brought him his tea. A new species has been found, Jae-ho said. His eyes moved quickly over the words. They call themselves the Voidborn Imperium. The Confederation has made first contact. Are they friendly? Hannah asked. Before Jai-Ho could answer, Commander Ta-Wu Park entered the room. His face was serious. "Doctor, you need to see this," he said, touching the screen to show a video. The video showed a large room where Confederation leaders sat at a round table. Across from them were tall, gray-skinned aliens with 4 arms and eyes that glowed yellow. They wore black armor with sharp edges. One of the Confederation leaders was speaking. "And we welcome cultural exchange. Many of our worlds, especially the humans, can offer medical technology that might benefit your people." The largest of the gray aliens stood up. His voice was deep and cold. "We have no need for healers. The weak should die, the strong survive. This is the way of the universe." The video ended. Jai-Ho, Hannah, and Ta-Wu were silent for a moment. "They think helping the sick is wrong?" Hannah finally asked. "It seems so," Jai-Ho said. "Some cultures view illness as a test, but I've never met a species that rejected all medical help." Ta-Wu's face grew darker. "These Imperium aliens aren't just different. They're dangerous. Look at this next part." He played another video. This time, the Imperium leader was being shown images of human medical corps ships helping after a disaster. "These humans waste resources keeping the weak alive," the alien said. "In our empire, only the strongest receive care. The rest must overcome on their own or perish." The Confederation representative tried to explain the human view, but the alien turned away in disgust. "I don't like this," Ta-Wu said after stopping the video. "Their ships are heavily armed. Their whole culture seems built on fighting and conquest." Jai-Ho stood up and walked to the window. Earth shone blue and beautiful below. "Many species have warlike beginnings. They often change when they see there are better ways to live." "I hope you're right," Ta-Wu said. "But my job is to think about danger. And these Voidborn worry me." Over the next few weeks, more news came about the Imperium. They had a large space empire with many conquered worlds. Their ships were designed for war, not exploration, and they continued to speak against the human medical corps in every meeting. One morning, Jai-Ho was called to an emergency meeting with Earth's leaders. When he arrived, their faces were grim. "The Imperium has refused to join the Confederation," the Earth president said. "They say our ways make the galaxy weak. They've especially mentioned humans as, what was their word? Corruption spreaders because we help all who are hurt." An admiral spoke next. "We increased patrols near our borders, but the Confederation believes the Imperium won't attack. They rarely attack without warning." Jai-Ho listened carefully. "What does this mean for the medical corps?" "For now, continue your missions," the president said. "But Commander Park will add more security ships to your fleet, and stay away from the borders near Imperium space." As Jai-Ho left the meeting, his communication device beeped. A distress call had come in from a colony world called New Thessalonica. A terrible accident at a mining facility had left hundreds hurt and dying. "Should we respond?" Hannah asked when he told her. "With the Imperium threat, we always respond to those in need," Jai-Ho said firmly. "Prepare the ships. The Hippocrates leads in 1 hour." As the medical fleet prepared to leave Earth, none of them knew they were heading toward a moment that would change humanity forever. The stars shone like tiny diamonds against the black canvas of space. Among them, the massive white ship called HS Hippocrates moved slowly. Its sides were marked with a red cross, an ancient symbol of healing that humans had carried with them to the stars. Dr. Jae-Ho Kim stood at the main viewing window. He was a man of 50 years with calm eyes and steady hands. As the leader of the human medical corps, he had seen much suffering across many worlds. Today would bring more. "Doctor, we are approaching the planet now," said Ta-Wu Park. The military commander was tall and had a face that rarely smiled. His job was to keep the medical ship safe. Jai-Ho nodded. "How bad is it this time?" "Very bad," The fighting lasted 3 weeks. Both sides used ground bombs. At least 10,000 hurt, maybe more. Below them, the planet Kepler-9 came into view. Once it had been beautiful with blue oceans and green lands. Now smoke rose from its largest cities. The war between its two main groups had finally ended, but at great cost. "Tell all ships to prepare for landing," Jai-Ho said. "I want teams ready to move within 10 minutes of touchdown." The Hippocrates was not alone. 4 other large medical ships followed it, each carrying hundreds of doctors, nurses, and medical workers. Together they formed the Human Medical Corps, the greatest healing force in the known galaxy. Inside the main medical bay, hundreds of beds waited for the wounded. Doctors checked their tools. Nurses prepared medicines. Medical robots stood ready to assist with operations. The room was clean, bright, and calm. Nurse Hannah Choi approached Jai-Ho with a data pad. She had worked with him for 8 years and knew his ways well. "The first reports are coming in," she said. "Many children among the hurt." Jai-Ho's face showed sadness for only a moment before he became the calm doctor again. "We will save as many as we can," he said. "We always do." Throughout the ship, the medical teams made final preparations. They wore white uniforms with the Human Medical Corps symbol, a red cross inside a circle of stars. Each star represented a planet where they had helped. There were many stars. "Dr. Kim," said Ta Wu through the ship's speakers, "the local leaders are fighting about where we should land first. Each side wants our help before the other." Jai-Ho sighed. This was common. "Tell them what we always tell them. We help those most hurt first, no matter which side they fought for. That is our way." The ship began to enter the planet's air. Through the windows, Jai-Ho could now see the destroyed cities more clearly. Buildings were broken like children's toys. Roads were cut open. In open spaces, thousands of people gathered, many lying on the ground, hurt and waiting. "This is why we exist," Jai-Ho said quietly to himself. Far from this place, back on Earth, people lived in peace. Few remembered the terrible wars of the past. But deep under the ice of Antarctica, a secret remained. The worst criminals in human history slept in frozen tubes. Men and women whose names made people afraid. Killers. War makers. People too dangerous to live among others, but too valuable to kill. The Earth government called it the Prometheus Vault. Most people didn't know it existed. Even Jai-Ho only knew rumors. As the medical ships landed on the broken planet, Jai-Ho pushed these thoughts away. His job was to heal, not to harm. He had seen what violence did to bodies and minds. He had spent his life fixing what others had broken. "Landing complete," said Ta Wu. "It's safe to begin." Jai-Ho turned to his teams. "Remember our oath," he said. "We heal all who suffer, no matter who they are or what they've done." The doors of the great ship opened. The doctors, nurses, and medical workers of humanity walked out to face the day's work. Above them, the ship's name shone in the sunlight. Hippocrates, named for an ancient healer who had lived thousands of years ago. Little did they know that soon, humanity would remember other ancient names, names of those who knew not how to heal, but how to harm. 1 month after Operation Hippocratic Vengeance began, the Imperium leaders met in their great hall on their homeworld. The room was dark, lit only by a few lights. Their voices were no longer proud and strong. "How can the humans do this to us?" asked one leader. They were just healers. The Supreme Commander stood tall, but his yellow eyes showed fear. "We have lost 20 supply bases, 30 command centers. Our warriors are afraid to sleep." A map showed their space. Red marks covered it, each one a place where humans had struck. There were many red marks. "We must adapt," the Supreme Commander said. "I have called our greatest War Master from the outer systems. Krovar has never lost a battle. He will crush these humans." 3 days later, War Master Krovar arrived with 50 battleships. He was larger than most Imperium warriors, with scars covering his gray skin. His plan was simple: Gather all ships into one massive force and attack Earth directly. The humans have spread their ships thin to attack our supplies, Krovar told the leaders. Their homeworld must be weak now. We will strike there and end this. On the human ship Justice, General Han Bin watched the Imperium fleet movements on his screen. He smiled. They are doing exactly what I hoped, he told Admiral Sunmei. They gather their ships for a big attack. Is that not dangerous? Sunmei asked. It would be, if we were not ready for it. Han Bin pressed a button, showing a different map. Look, we have placed small hidden ships all through this area. The Imperium fleet must pass through it to reach Earth. Min Jikang entered the room. My teams are in position. When the Imperium fleet enters the trap zone, we will hit them from all sides at once. The next day, War Master Krovar led the great fleet toward Earth. His ships moved in tight formation, weapons ready. He felt sure of victory. Humans are weak, he told his warriors. They spent too much time saving lives. They have forgotten how to take them. Suddenly, alarms sounded across his ship. On his screen, small dots appeared all around his fleet, hundreds of them, coming from behind moons, from asteroid fields, from places his scanners had missed. It's a trap, he shouted. Before his ships could turn, the human vessels opened fire. Not with normal weapons, but with clouds of strange gas. The gas entered the Imperium ships through their air systems. Inside the ships, warriors fell to the floor. They could not move their arms or legs. They could still see, still hear, still feel fear, but they could do nothing as human soldiers in special suits entered their ships and took control. War Master Krovar watched in horror as ship after ship went silent. His own body began to freeze as the gas reached him. His last command was desperate. Use the planet killers. Destroy Earth at any cost. 5 large ships at the back of the fleet opened special compartments. Inside were the Imperium's most terrible weapons, bombs that could destroy entire planets. The bombs launched toward Earth. On the Justice, Dr. Junseo Choi watched the bombs on the screen. He pressed a button on his control panel. What are you doing? Sunmei asked. Showing them true fear, Junseo answered. Watch. As the planet killer bombs flew through space, they began to change. Their metal shells grew a strange blue mold. Their engines sputtered and died. The bombs drifted harmlessly into empty space. My special microbes, Junseo explained. I released them 2 weeks ago. They have been growing on all Imperium weapons, waiting for the right moment. The Imperium's greatest attack had failed completely. Their War Master and 50 ships were captured. Their ultimate weapons were useless. Admiral Sunmei sent a message to the Imperium homeworld. She showed them their defeated fleet, their paralyzed War Master, their failed bombs. You thought killing healers made you strong, she said. Now you see your mistake. Do you wish to surrender, or shall we continue? The Imperium Supreme Commander asked for peace talks. Sunmei's answer was simple. She played the video of the Hippocrates exploding, then cut the communication. The message was clear. There would be no peace. Not yet. The Galactic Confederation held an emergency meeting. Leaders from 87 different species sat in a great round hall. They argued about how to respond to the massacre at New Thessalonica. We must send a strong message to the Imperium, said one leader. But we should not rush into war, said another. As they debated, a human representative entered the hall. She was supposed to give Earth's view on the matter. Instead, she simply said, Earth has decided to act on its own. This message just arrived from our fleet. On the large screen above them, Admiral Sunmei's face appeared. Behind her stood 3 people that made several Confederation members gasp in recognition. The Imperium has shown that they do not respect healers, Sunmei said. So we send those they might respect instead. Earth will handle this matter. Stay out of our way. The screen went dark. The hall erupted in shocked voices. Was that General Lee and Colonel Kang? They freed those monsters. What has Earth done? Far from the Confederation meeting, the human fleet moved through space. At its center was the warship Justice, Admiral Sunmay's command vessel. On the bridge, she watched as General Han Bin Lee pointed to a star map. "The Imperium expects us to attack directly," Han Bin explained. "That is what normal military leaders would do. But we are not normal." His finger traced a path around Imperium space. "Instead, we hit their supply lines first. Here, here, and here. We destroy their fuel ships, their food carriers, their weapon transports." Min Jikang stepped forward. "My special teams will strike their command centers. Small ships, fast attacks. We appear, we destroy, we vanish." Admiral Sunmay studied the plan. It was unlike standard military thinking. It was clever. It was cruel. It was exactly why she had freed these criminals. "Begin," she ordered. For the next 2 weeks, the Imperium faced an enemy unlike any before. Their ships would jump to a new system, only to find their supply ships already destroyed. Their leaders would gather to plan, and suddenly their building would explode with no warning. In his laboratory on the Justice, Dr. Jun Seo Choi worked with strange liquids and machines. He had created deadly diseases before. Now he made something different. "It is ready," he told Admiral Sunme. "A gas that does not kill. It only paralyzes. The Imperium warriors will lie helpless, unable to move, but fully aware, fully afraid." "Will it cause permanent harm?" Sunme asked. Jun Seo smiled. "No, they will recover in 3 days, just long enough to know what it feels like to be helpless, just long enough for us to take their ships and weapons." The Imperium leaders grew angry, then worried, then afraid. Their mighty warriors were being defeated without even proper battles. Their careful plans fell apart before they could act on them. "These are not the humans we saw before," the Imperium commander told his war council. "These are not the soft healers. These are something else." A message arrived from Earth. It showed the Hippocrates exploding again and again. After the 10th replay, Admiral Sunma's face appeared. "This is what you did," she said. "And this is why we now do what we do. You killed our healers. We sent our killers." The Confederation watched in shock as human forces tore through Imperium defenses. They had expected Earth to fight. They had not expected Earth to fight like this, with perfect planning, with no mercy, with tactics that seemed to know the enemy's moves before they made them. "Should we help stop this?" one Confederation leader asked another. His friend showed him the video of the medical ships being destroyed. "Would you stand between a wounded animal and the one who hurt it?" "I would not. The Imperium started this. Let them face what they have awakened." In her private room, Admiral Sunmay looked at pictures of the medical teams who had died. She had known many of them. Good people who only wanted to help others. "We will make this right," she whispered to their faces. "We will make them remember your names." The 5 medical ships arrived at New Thessalonica 3 days after leaving Earth. From space, the colony looked peaceful. It was a small world with one large continent where humans had built their main city near a mountain range rich with rare metals. "I don't see any signs of a mining accident," Commander Ta-Wu said as they entered orbit. His voice held worry. Dr. Jae-ho Kim stood beside him on the bridge of the Hippocrates. "Try to contact the colony again." Ta-Wu pressed buttons on the communication panel. Static filled the speakers. Then a desperate voice broke through. "Medical Corps, thank the stars. We need help. There was an attack, not an accident. Many hurt, hundreds dead already." Jae-ho and Tai-Wu looked at each other with surprise and concern. "Attack? By whom?" Ta-Wu asked. "Unknown ships came without warning, bombed the city center and mining complex. Please hurry." Jae-ho didn't wait for more. "Land all ships near the city. Prepare all medical teams for mass casualties." "Doctor." Ta-Wu grabbed Jae-ho's arm. "This could be dangerous. Let me send scouts first. People are dying while we talk." Jai-Ho said firmly. We go now. The 5 white ships descended through the clouds. Below, they saw the truth. Half the city was in ruins. Fires burned everywhere. People ran through streets carrying the wounded toward open spaces. The medical ships landed in a large park. As soon as the doors opened, the horror became clear. Thousands of injured people lay on the grass. Many were children. The air smelled of smoke and blood. Set up field hospitals here, Jai-Ho ordered. Hana, start sorting patients by need. Most critical first. For hours, the medical teams worked without rest. They set up white tents filled with beds. Doctors operated on the most badly hurt. Nurses moved from person to person, giving medicine for pain. Medical robots scanned injuries and helped carry the wounded. Jai-Ho worked alongside his team, his hands moving quickly to stop bleeding and close wounds. He had just finished saving a young girl when Tae-woo ran into the tent, his face pale. Doctor, ships have entered the system. They're not Confederation. The attackers are back, Jai-Ho asked, his hands still red with blood. No, different ships, but they're, Doctor, I think they're Imperium vessels. Jai-Ho's heart went cold. Contact them. Tell them we are a neutral medical mission. Show the universal medical protection symbol. Tae-woo ran back to their ship to send the message. Jai-Ho turned to Hana. Prepare to move patients inside our ships if needed. Minutes later, Tae-woo's voice came through Jai-Ho's communicator. Doctor, you need to see this. Inside the Hippocrates, Jai-Ho watched the main screen. The face of an Imperium commander filled it. The alien's yellow eyes showed no emotion. I am Dr. Jai-Ho Kim of the Human Medical Corps. We are a neutral medical mission helping wounded civilians. We claim protection under Galactic Confederation law. The alien was silent for a moment. You strengthen the weak. Those who fall should not rise again. These are innocent people, Jai-Ho argued. Many children. Please, we mean no harm. Those who save the weak dilute the strength of the universe, the alien said coldly. Then the screen went black. Tae-woo's face went pale. 5 Imperium warships are moving into attack positions. Evacuate. Get as many people as possible into our ships. Jai-Ho shouted. Outside, panic spread as medical workers tried to move patients. The sky darkened as the massive Imperium ships moved over the city. They can't attack us, Hana said as she helped carry a child. We're medical ships. It's against all laws. The first energy beam struck the smallest medical ship, cutting it in half. The explosion lit up the park like a new sun. Jai-Ho watched in horror as a second beam aimed at the Hippocrates. His last thought was of all the people they wouldn't be able to save. The New Thessalonica massacre had begun. Deep below the ice of Antarctica, Admiral Sun Ma-yoon stepped out of the elevator. The air was cold despite the heating systems. Perhaps, she thought, some places were meant to stay cold. This way, Admiral, said the guard. He led her down a long hallway with no windows, only white walls and bright lights. They reached a large metal door with many locks. 6 guards stood nearby. Each guard pressed their hand to a scanner. Finally, the door slowly opened. Inside was a round room with walls of ice. In the center stood a man in a white coat. Dr. Kang, Sun Ma said with a small nod. It has been many years. Not long enough, he answered. His face showed no happiness at seeing her. You know why you're here. The Prometheus protocol has been activated. I am to take command of the assets. Dr. Kang pressed a button on his wrist. The ice walls became clear like glass. Behind them, Sun Ma could see rows and rows of tall tubes filled with blue liquid. In each tube floated a person, eyes closed, not moving. 117, Dr. Kang said. The worst criminals in human history. Too dangerous to live among us. Too valuable to kill. Sun Ma walked closer to the glass. Are they conscious? No, they sleep and do not dream. But they can be awakened quickly. Dr. Kang led her to a screen. He touched it, and pictures appeared, showing faces and names. You will choose which ones to wake based on the mission needs, he explained. Sunmi studied the faces. I want him first, she said, pointing to a man with a stern face. General Han Bin Lee. Dr. Kang looked surprised. The butcher of the resource wars. He caused millions of deaths. He also ended the war and helped unite East Asia, Sunmi said. More importantly, he knows how to fight an enemy with superior numbers. She pointed to another face, this one a woman with cold eyes. Colonel Min Ji-Kang. Her asteroid belt tactics are still taught in our academies. Then she selected a third face, and Dr. Jun Seo Choi. Dr. Kang stepped back. The disease maker. He held planet New Sydney hostage with his created plagues. He is perhaps the most dangerous of all. The Imperium must learn that killing our healers has consequences, Sunmi said. These three will teach that lesson. Plus, any others they recommend once they're awake. For the next hour, Sunmi selected more criminals from the system. Weapon makers, battle planners, experts in fear and pain. By the end, she had chosen 38 names. It will take 6 hours to wake them, Dr. Kang said. Then they must be fitted with the control devices. What control devices? Sunmi asked. Dr. Kang touched his neck. Small chips placed here. If they disobey orders or try to escape, the chips will put them back to sleep. If they try to remove the chips. He made a small explosion gesture with his hands. 6 hours later, Sunmi stood before 38 men and women in simple gray clothes. They blinked in the bright light, some seeing the real world for the first time in decades. General Han Bin Lee stepped forward. He was tall with gray hair, but his body was still strong. Why have we been awakened? He asked in a clear voice. Sunmi showed them the video of the massacre. As they watched, their faces changed. Some showed shock. Others showed something like hunger. When it ended, Sunmi spoke. You were put away because civilization had no place for your particular skills. Now civilization needs exactly those skills. She walked down the line, looking each criminal in the eye. Serve Earth in this mission, and your crimes will be forgiven. Help us defeat the Imperium, and you earn your freedom. Han Bin touched the control chip on his neck. And if we refuse, then you go back to sleep forever, Sunmi said simply. But I don't think you'll refuse. You've been given a rare thing, a chance to use your darkest talents for a good cause. Min Ji-Kang, the space warfare expert, stepped forward. When do we start? Sunmi smiled for the first time. Now, Operation Hippocratic Vengeance begins today.